Welcome back to Velshane Rule. I can't remember my name, but I can remember that voting counts. Candidates, they are back on the campaign trail addressing a number of issues today, including gun control. Just this morning, Senator Cory Booker released a new plan tackling gun violence across America. His plan includes implementing a federal gun licensing program and banning assault rifles. And in other news, Beto O'Rourke is now saying there is enough evidence for the House of Representatives to move forward with impeaching President Trump. This comes as a new Monmouth University poll looks at how voters view socialism and capitalism. The study shows that a majority of Americans, nearly 59%, say that socialism is not compatible with American values. 29% say it is compatible with American values. But as we look ahead to the 2020 election, a majority of Americans also say that the United States should amend the Constitution and eliminate a major staple of the election process, the Electoral College. Right now, in order to win the presidential election, the party candidate must receive 270 Electoral College votes. Joining me now to break all of this down, NBC News national political correspondent, my dear friend Steve Kornacki, and I'm also joined by Monmouth University Polling Institute Director Patrick Murray. Welcome to you both. Mr. Kornacki, to you first. Help me understand this evolution around people's views on the Electoral College.
Yeah, so I mean, we got an NBC Wall Street Journal poll, brand new, on this question, the Electoral College versus the popular vote. How do you want to pick the president? Guess what? The popular vote wins the popular vote. A small majority there in our new polls say, never mind with the Electoral College, let's go straight to the popular vote. But you see, there's a pretty stark divide here. And when you break this down by party, Democrats and Republicans, that's where you really see it. Look, among Democrats, basically 80% they're saying they want the popular vote. Remember, their candidate won the popular vote in 2016 by upward of 3 million votes and yet is not president. And that also happened to them in 2000 with Al Gore winning the popular vote and losing the presidency. On the Republican side, almost the exact opposite. 3/4 of Republicans saying stick with the Electoral College. Again, Republicans twice in the last 20 years won presidential elections through the Electoral College in spite of losing the popular vote. The interesting thing is when you look back over time, CBS News has polled this a number of times. Go back to the 1980s. This is 1987. You see here strong support, 57% Republican, 63% Democratic support at that time for the popular vote. Remember, at that point in history, there was no modern example of a candidate winning the presidency through the Electoral College and not the popular vote. It had happened in the 19th century, had not happened in modern times. It was more of a theoretical question. You had strong support in both parties. Then it happened in 2000, with Al Gore, George W. Bush, and right there you see Republican support dropped for the popular vote when George W. Bush won. People seemed to kind of move on. The support ticked back up in 2012, and then 2016 it happens again. And as we say, look, that support among Republicans has dropped like a rock for the Electoral College, for the popular vote, just as Democratic support for it has increased in the wake of what's happened to them 2 times in 20 years.
So, Steve, is the debate around the Electoral College really around, is this a fair system, or is it entirely political? If it's an unfair system, but it works for me, I'm going to keep it. I mean, that's kind of the way it sounds.
Yeah, like I said, I think that you can see here when this was not, when there were no examples for people to work off of, when it was more theoretical, more conceptual, I think the baseline is this, is most folks are going to err on the side of saying they like the popular vote instead of the Electoral College. You can also find some polling from the 1970s. This issue came up back then a little bit, similar results. But then as you see, what happens here is when you have an actual election where this becomes real and not abstract, you do get to see much more of that polarization. That enters into it, and that becomes an undeniable force in this.
Patrick, does polling, especially around this debate around capitalism versus socialism, does it force us into an either-or that the American people aren't even looking for? To say capitalism isn't working for me is one thing, but it doesn't mean that socialism will. And it feels like these kind of questions, or framing it this way, won't actually help the majority of Americans.
No, and I think that's what they're telling us. I mean, we looked at some issues that are viewed as socialist, like universal health care, which has overwhelming support. but the people who support it say it's neither socialist nor capitalist. The people who are against it say it's socialist. And I think it's the same thing that, about the Electoral College, is that we're seeing this become a partisan issue. In terms of what terms you use, what the norms of behavior are. So I think we're seeing a lot of people right now, like, for example, 30% of the public have neutral views on both capitalism and socialism. Because they're basically saying, capitalism, I don't think it's really working for me, but these other ideas are really good. However, don't call them socialism, because that's a dirty word. And in fact, I think one of the things that we're seeing from this poll and from others is that there are two words that I think Republicans going into 2020 would like to hear a lot on the campaign trail.
Socialist.
One of them socialism, the other one's impeachment. If they can keep those words in the stream, I think they think they can win folks over.
Steve, do political parties listen to things like that and wise up to it? Do they say the American people might like these ideas, but they don't like this label? And do those parties start to say, we got to figure out a way to rebrand this?
And it's interesting to hear Patrick there talk about socialism and look at those numbers on socialism. I'm reminded, you can go back about a generation in American politics. They called it the L word back then, liberal. Every Republican running for office in the 80s into the 1990s was trying to brand their Democratic opponent a liberal. And of course, it was Bill Clinton when he won in 1992. He shied away from that label, called himself a different kind of Democrat. Liberal was very much a term that the polling worked against Democrats on for a long time. Now you can see the terrain is shifting in other directions.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.